April Ways and Means Committee meeting of the Onondaga County Legislature. I would like to ask the clerk to call a roll.
Legislator May. Romeo. Denton. Bush. Hernandez. Burtis.
Thank you. The mics are not on. Thank you. Okay. If we can work on that, but, can we approve the meeting? Can we approve the meeting minutes by show of hands since the mics are not working? Clerk?
We can share this one if you want.
All right, sweet.
While that's being addressed.
So, yes, I would like to ask, are there any objections to the previous meeting's minutes? Seeing none, the previous meeting minutes are approved. First on our agenda, we have the Department of Finance, who will be giving a presentation on the budget process. And for all of our speakers, we're starting with Christy. For all of our speakers, I would ask that you state your name and your title clearly, just so that it makes it, easy for everyone. But thank you.
All right, I'm Christy Smiley. I'm the CFO for Onondaga County. Thank you guys for having me over to talk about the budget process and provide context on how we develop the executive budget each year. So to start off, what I thought I would do is step through today how we build the budget, what drives our expenses and revenues, how we arrive at the final spending plan that comes before you guys, and give you an overview of what to expect from the budget presentations this year. So, helps if I go the right direction. All right, so where do we start? So in May of each year, we begin with the development of what we call the baseline budget. That process starts by preparing our first forecast for the current year, examining our current year expenses and revenues, and determining any pressures on this year's budget and next year's budget. My team then begins putting together the costs of current services at next year's prices. What I think it's really important to understand is even if we make no decisions, our county budget will increase every single year because of inherent cost drivers that we have. So we talk about our contractual wages, our associated fringe and benefits, mandated programs, inflation on supplies, utilities, and contractual escalators. And with a budget of over $1.5 billion, those are large increases. Whoa. I'm not. So I didn't learn a new language today. It's supposed to say comparing baseline to revenue. I'm not sure what happened there. So once we put our baseline expenditures together, we compare them against projected revenues to assess the county's fiscal position. The majority of the county revenues sources are either formula driven or fixed reimbursements tied to expenditures, limiting the county's direct control over revenue sources or growth. Even major revenue streams like sales tax are largely influenced by broader economic conditions rather than local policy decisions. So in recent years, the county's been very fortunate that we've operated in a favorable fiscal environment where revenues have exceeded baseline expenditure growth, resulting in structural surpluses. This was driven primarily by post-pandemic factors that temporarily elevated our revenues while suppressing baseline budgeting costs. Some of those were our historic sales tax growth that we've talked about a lot over the last year as that's returning back to normal. Federal fiscal relief to local governments, including American Rescue Plan Act or ARPA funding, and enhanced federal Medicaid assistance. Additionally, post-pandemic, we did see a reduction in our safety net programs for several years. We're starting to see those increase again. As we developed the 2026 budget, however, those conditions began to shift. For the first time in several years, the county faced a structural deficit putting together the 2026 budget, meaning that expenses were outpacing revenue. I do want to take a moment, though, to highlight that during those years of structural surpluses, we made very deliberate effort to be disciplined. Instead of adding ongoing costs or reoccurring costs to our budget, we invested in one-time investments such as infrastructure improvements, updating our vehicle fleet, and technology investments. We also strategically used funding that would result in increased sales and property taxes in future years. Because of that discipline, we were able to close the gap in 2026 with relative ease. So going back to the process, I don't know what happened to the slide, I apologize. So in July, we provide departments with their baseline budget. At this point, we ask departments to review those for accuracy, to submit any necessary technical adjustments to their budget, like staffing changes, and to propose or submit decision packages. Those decision packages can include new initiatives or programs, one-time expenses, increased staffing. Throughout July and August, those requests are reviewed by myself and the county executive team and are evaluated against available resources and county priorities. So that's where really the balancing comes together, is what can we afford and what do we need in the budget. Ultimately, that results in the county executive budgets that's presented to you on or before September 15th of each year. On the first day of budget presentations, the county executive will present the policy direction, the strategic priorities, and a high-level overview of the spending plan. On day 2, I will have my budget presentation, and from my perspective as the CFO, my role is to walk you through the details behind the numbers. So my presentation focuses on what's driving our expenditures, what's driving our revenue, and how have they changed from last year. So my presentation is variance driven, so we can see what changed and why it changed. I'll also, during that time period, go walk you through how we closed out the previous fiscal year, our updated forecast for the current year, and our multi-year forecast. I think that's important to provide you context on the county's overall financial position, emerging pressures on the budget over the next several years, and the environment in which the budget was developed. So after the CFO presentation are departmental budget presentations. Historically, we've worked collaboratively with the legislature to incorporate departmental budgets and presentations as part of the review process. These presentations are typically focused on departments with significant new expenditures, major policy or programmatic changes, and the county's largest cost centers. However, I do want to note that the legislature is provided with a written budget overview for every department, outlining program changes, changes in staffing, and the major expenses and revenue drivers, so that you have the information for every single department. And then the last part is obviously your legislative review. So this Ways and Means Committee will propose amendments to the county's executive budget in the Ways and Means report. A public hearing will be held on October 1st through the 10th. And then the full county legislature must adopt the budget no later than October 15th. The county executive may veto any increases, and that has to be done by October 20th. If there are any vetoes, the legislature will need to consider those on or before October 25th. Budget is required to be ultimately adopted by the first Monday in November. If it's not adopted by the first Monday in November, the budget submitted by the county executive, plus all of the increases which he has failed to object, is what becomes the actual adopted budget. So that's a really quick overview of the process from start to finish, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Thank you, Christy. Do any of the legislators have any questions about the budget process at this moment? Yes, Leader May.
Have we figured out what language that is?
But I'm gonna look into it. Might be my next hobby, right?
It's hieroglyphics. Legislator Romeo and then Leader Hernandez. Legislator Romeo.
Thank you. So my question is, if there's, who knows what's going to happen, significant COVID, let's talk about, right? So during COVID, I wasn't here at the time, but I assume it was just like this crazy, you guys need to adapt, we need to adapt kind of thing. What procedures would happen, or what would trigger something that's like, how do we engage with you in terms of adapting on the fly with something as major as like a COVID situation?
Sure. So obviously during COVID, there was multiple factors. There was a ton of new expenses that we needed to procure, obviously for our departments, for our employees, those type of things. And also there was the loss of revenue. The state slowed down reimbursement. We weren't guaranteed reimbursement for programs. So what we did is we put a budget austerity in, basically. So we basically reduced budget lines in the budget so that we would be able to make sure that we could balance the budget for that year. And then also we put in, obviously, anytime a department's looking to procure something, it goes through an approval process, through their fiscal officer, through the comptroller's office, through, purchasing, all of those. We actually instituted another step, and I was very unliked during that time period. It was me. So everything that was purchased was reviewed through the eye of lenses. Is this an emergency? Is this something that is absolutely needed, or is it something that we could wait on? So that's how we addressed it at that time period. And anytime we run into measures where we anticipate slowed revenue growth, we look at that and, if need be, put in austerity measures so that we ensure the fiscal stability of the county.
Okay. And
Certainly there was reporting out on that during those time periods as well to the ledge about what was going on.
for sure, I'm thinking, thank you for that.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
answers- But also on top of that, I'm thinking about what we would need to do. Like,
So
were you able to do that without us? Or are
were
there
able
things
to
like,
exact-
hey, we would need you to like get together and we
so
need
we
some.
certainly briefed you about it, but we did that at the time, executively reducing expenditures. In partnership, obviously, there was many conversations about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Leader Hernandez, then Leader May.
Mine's is simple. Thank you so much for coming in and explaining this to us. Can you share that PowerPoint?
Yeah, I actually sent it over yesterday, so you guys should have it. And I promise it is in English.
It is, can confirm. Leader May.
Just to add to Christie's comments, there was a ton of communication during the pandemic. As you can imagine, revenue streams dry right up. Sales tax, room tax, things like that are budgeted out and primarily spent, right? And so it was a function of communication. It was a function of some legislative action along the way. I think we even had some staffing considerations that needed to be dealt with as well. So it was more than a reactive time. It was a proactive time. And I mean, by and large, everything worked out okay. County learned a lot about a lot of things when
Sure did.
revenue dries up and certain functions, all the outbound functions, the county couldn't happen as well. So very difficult. But there was a lot of communication continuously through the process. Just thought I'd add that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. I do have one question. I believe I know the answer, but I would like to hear you say it. At what point, or I'll rephrase it, is the community able to interact with the process before the public hearing phase? And if so, where would you suggest that be?
So a lot of that, I think, is throughout the entire year with departments, really at that programmatic level. I know the health department, children, family, they have a lot of different events out in the community and community feedback. There's always ways to reach out to the department, but that really happens throughout the year. And I do want to say that even though we start in May for the next year, the conversations don't start in May, right? So there's continual feedbacks throughout the year as we do forecasts, as departments are experiencing different things, about talking with our county executives about new priorities. So although we start the official budget process and putting things together in May, those are continual conversations going on throughout the year about what the needs are of departments.
Thank you. Any other questions, legislators? Seeing none, thank you so much, CFO Smiley. Next up, we are going to have Onondaga Community College. I believe Sue Tormey is going to speak about the public hearing, or no? No worries. Will it be you, Chairwoman Watts? Nice. But we're going to be speaking about calling for a public hearing on the tentative 2026-2027 budget of Onondaga Community College, which will be May 26th.
Hello, everyone. So this is just the typical public hearing that is called for in order for OCC budget. We have our May meeting located at OCC when they will do the budget presentation. And so we're just looking to get that on the calendar so as it falls within the window that we need to approve the OCC budget. So if you can make sure that you make note of the date and time, that we can ensure we have a quorum, and that's all that needs to be considered.
Do we have a motion? I see Legislator Romeo, second, Leader Hernandez. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman Watts. Next, we have IT, where we're going to be hearing from Kevin Sexton, the Chief Information Officer. to discuss a resolution authorizing comprehensive technology refresh in and for the County of Onondaga, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $1.6 million, and authorizing the issuance of $1.6 million in bonds of said county to pay costs thereof. And as you approach the mic, I'll just ask that you give your name and title so that the clerks can record it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kevin Sexton, Chief Information Officer here at the county. Will you be pulling up my slide deck?
Were we given a slide deck? Oh, you have it on your computer? Okay. It was sent over? Okay. Do we have it? We do? Okay. It will be going up shortly. Sorry about that.
It's only a few slides. It should be pretty quick.
Okay. Thank you. So,
While we're waiting, can I ask an unrelated question?
yeah. Yes. Legislator
Right.
Romeo?
Mr. Sexton, thank you. Just gonna ask a quick question while we wait.
Okay. Oh, yes, sure.
The digitalization of the civil service process, I've asked HR about it several times because it's something I'm interested in. Just didn't know if IT had a perspective in terms of how that transition's going or where it's at.
And I gotta tell you, I've got a hard time hearing in this room, so if
Sorry.
you can get close to the microphone. I think I understood the question was that how does IT think that we're handling civil service processing, or how we're doing with it?
The transition into it being online.
The transition to it being online.
Yeah.
Well, it's been online to a certain extent, but this is Carl's question probably.
Sorry, Carl. I always ask you. I just figured I'd ask somebody else. Sorry.
Yes,
Carl, we are going to ask you to state your name
Yeah.
and title. Thank you.
Carl Hummel, Commissioner of Personnel. So as I've talked about before, we're implementing a new software package, a company called NeoGov. The first module is called Insight. We're nearing completion of that. That piece is going to be the online application piece, so that people will be able to apply online, pay for exams online, information pass back and forth. We've started with the second phase now, the second module, which is called Onboard, which once someone applies and tests and is hired, we can then onboard them all digitally as well. It's going to have, people can do it on their computer. There's going to be mobile platforms. We expect to be live with the application process sometime this summer, probably end of the summer for onboard. And then we have a third module, which will start up at that time, which is called Learn. It's going to be the training platform. So they will run together seamlessly. So all the information is going to pass from the first time someone engages with the county about a job all the way to their first day at their desk and beyond. It'll run seamlessly. IT really isn't involved with the process because it's an outside vendor. It's a cloud-based platform. So my team is managing the project. My Deputy Commissioner, Anne Marie Donahue, is a project manager working with the company, and we anticipate, we've had a few bumps, but things are really smoothed out now, so we do expect to be live sometime this summer.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, looks like we have the slide set up, so
Yeah, we're good.
take it
Thank
away.
All right, so again, Kevin Sexton here to discuss the bond resolution request for as part of the 2026 CIP for IT. And the gist of the CIP in general is to upgrade or replace either equipment or application environments in the county's network or cloud-supported environments in order to stay on current versions and to better secure our environment and to maintain or improve performance. So we have a number of environments we'd like to address. So, but before we get into it, we'll go over the overview of the numbers real quick. So if you want to go to the next slide. Oh, can I do it from here? I gotcha, okay. All right, so the overall CIP request is for $3.8 million. And this year's bond resolution request is for $1.6 million. And specifically, We, we are looking for this bond resolution to address a number of environments for this year. The first being our compute and nodes and chassis hardware, which supports basically all the hardware that supports our server and virtual machine environments. We have over 800 servers running on virtual machines that we need to support. Make sure that, again, that they're on current version and they're protected, and the performance is good. And so we're looking to get replacement for our older IBM Blade servers for this year. We got a couple other items slated for 2027. We don't really need to get into them too much now, but those are for backup storage for our forensic science center to improve performance on backups, and also our overall enterprise storage environment as well for all of our active data here on our county network, but those are for next year. Excuse me, this year we also like to replace a good number of PCs, laptops, and docking stations for older unsupported machines that have been around for a while. Some have been around for 7, 8 years. All of those are still running on Windows 10. We need to get them up to Windows 11. And also there's a number of aged monitors in our environment that are, getting beat up and are smaller in size that we want to get replaced this year. Also, as we replace new machines, we look to upgrade our Microsoft licensing, so that's part of this spend as well. We're also looking to introduce a back cloud object storage environment, which is an immutable backup system that we'd like to have more off-site presence for those backups. We do have some off-site backups now, but they're on a limited scale for forensics. In 911, we'd like to have all of our mission critical environments going off to an off-site. They're all backed up here on site now, and we'd like to have an additional backup off-site. We're also looking to upgrade a number of network equipment, a large number of network equipment, mainly network switches, firewalls, and wireless access points for this year. For those, again, those devices that are coming to end of life or at end of life. We typically replace a good number of phones every year for our VoIP environment, anything related to that, all the peripherals. Next year, we're looking at a fiber replacement for some of our buildings downtown, but again, that's not part of this bond resolution. And the final item we'd look to get started this year is to upgrade our Kronos environment. That's our timekeeping management system, which feeds our payroll system. So it's important to get that on a current version as well. So that's part of the 1.6 million bond resolution for this year. And again, before we take any questions, if you could get close to the microphone so I can hear better, that'd be great. Yes.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Chairwoman Wise.
Do any of these upgrades have to do with the ADA accessibility requirements that are coming online and/or the changeover of our website? If you could speak to those two things.
These specific items do not, but they support our overall environment where people will be accessing ADA compliant documents. We did upgrade our website this year, and we still have a challenge of getting all of our older PDFs that are on that website to a compliant form, and we're actually working with the legislature on that. I'm actually having a meeting with the legislature tomorrow on that to come up with a game plan to address those. In the meantime, we are implementing a solution, hopefully in the next couple of days, on our website that it will actually allow you to view those older PDFs in accessibility mode. So we'll be covered from that standpoint, but we still need to work on a plan going forward and work with all the various departments who submit PDFs to the legislature so that they're in compliant form going forward. So none of these specific items really need to address that, but we have a game plan for what I believe you're asking about.
My question is about, even though you kind of answered it by saying you're meeting with the legislature, but what does the outreach with the different departments look like when you're updating their things? Like, do you communicate with them, and what does that look like?
Yes, we do. We have IT liaisons at all of our department that we typically work with. We also work with the department heads, obviously. We can typically set up Teams meetings to include a number of people on those calls or every call. We'd like to distribute training documentation to start with.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes training videos, if that helps. For ADA, honestly, we're still kind of getting our arms around it because it's quite a bit confusing. I think even some of the members of the legislature will admit when you're doing an accessibility check on a PDF document or Word document, it's not always clear what needs to be fixed. So it's going to be a challenge for everyone. We're going to be here from an IT standpoint to assist all the teams in getting there, hopefully getting some templates set up so they can reuse them going forward. But we feel strongly we can get there.
Thank you. Are there any questions from legislators? Legislator Denton?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for breaking this down. It's really great to see the level of detail. And then I just had a question on, with our old equipment, do we have like a recycling program? How does that work?
We do. We have a vendor that we work with. Before we send any of our disk drives out or any of our computers out, we make sure that they're wiped so there's no data on them. But our facilities department actually has contracts with e-recycling vendors that come in and take all of our equipment away, and they take care of it from there.
Legislator Romeo?
Thank you. My question is with the server investment from this year, and you had talked about going to a cloud backup later on, I believe. Is transitioning to the cloud something that we're interested in, and is there savings there? What does the future of that storage look like?
In the cloud, you mean?
Yeah, so if we're going to be using it, or yes. Are we going down that road, or is there a reason we're not going down that road?
There is a reason that we have made big investments in the cloud over the years. We haven't made a big investment in terms of backing up in the cloud. And the reason is because it becomes an operational spend and it grows your budget. And what we're finding is because if we make a capital investment to invest in an on-premise backup solution, we normally keep it around and keep it alive for 8 to 10 years. The total cost of ownership becomes much less than the overall spend in the cloud. But that being said, we look at the cost of what the ownership in the cloud is because those expenses keep coming down every year. So once that becomes practical for us and, you know, the executive's office and the legislature is okay with us growing our budget to support backups in the cloud, then we will definitely look to move in that direction.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. How do we project platform and subscription cost increases? Like, how do you go about planning that?
How do we plan for increases?
Yeah, like the Microsoft Suite, I'm sure that price isn't fixed.
It's a huge concern.
Yeah.
And we know that our spend with Microsoft is going to continue to increase because, again, it's all prescription. All the software vendors are getting away from, you know, the one-time cost. You know, they want to have an annual spend every year. So it's a problem. We've had a lot of conversations with the county executive's office. Actually, the legislature over the last few years has been real good about allowing IT to increase their operational spend a little bit because of those reasons. But what we try to do is we work with our vendors in advance. We're starting our budget process now for 2027, and we ask them, you know, what does the increase look like for next year? If we migrate this to the cloud next year, what's the budget numbers for that? And then we try to incorporate that. We work with Christy and her team to, you know, obviously make them aware of it and plan for it and get that information to you. And that's what we've been doing the last few years, and it seems to have worked out. But you're absolutely on point that spend's going to increase because everyone's moving that direction.
It gets so frustrating, like on the personal side, seeing the increases. So I can only imagine for a body of our size with as many users as we have, like if they just raise their price $1 per user for us,
That's huge.
That's huge.
It is.
So yeah, forecasting that. I did have one more question about communications with departments. Is there like a formalized change management plan somewhere, or is it like ad hoc department by department? And is that something we'd be able to see internally? I imagine we don't want that public, but is that something?
My team has a change management process. We meet weekly to go over all the changes that are going into our productional environments.
Yes, sir.
And so not only for awareness, but to identify potential risk and identify what forms of communications, whether we need to send out an email to everyone in the county or whether we just need to email. So if we're implementing something in the PeopleSoft financial system, we get a notification out to all the users or all the management level in PeopleSoft. So that's kind of how we handle it from an IT standpoint. I think some of the other departments might have their own change management that they
Yes, sir.
manage.
Thank you. Any other questions from legislators? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion on item 3A.
Motion.
We have a motion from Leader Hernandez, and we have a second from Legislator Denton. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you so much, Kevin. Item 3A is approved. Next, we have item 4A from the Sheriff's Office. I believe we're going to be joined by Sheriff Shelley and some pilots. Pretty excited about this, but they're going to be speaking about a resolution authorizing the purchase of a replacement helicopter for the Sheriff's Department in and for the County of Onondaga, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $7.4 million, and authorizing the issuance of $7,075,000 in bonds of said county to pay costs thereof. And Sheriff Shelley and the gentleman with you, I'll just ask that when you speak, you just give us your name and your title. Thank you.
Sheriff Toby Shelley, Sheriff of Onondaga County. With me is Sergeant Jim Farley, our chief pilot, and also with us is Deputy Mike Bradley, one of our instructor pilots. We're here to talk about the bond for a new helicopter. Our aviation program has been around since the 70s. We'd like to push that aviation program into the future. Although it's an expensive program, I realize that when you look at the work this aviation program does, and you divide that work over the amount of time we'll have the helicopter, the cost isn't that much. When you start putting a price tag on a Cooper the dog from Baldwinsville, and you look at the other lives like that it's saving, the program justifies itself.
Thank you, Sheriff. Are there any questions from legislators? No way. None? Okay, Leader May. Wow.
It's great. It's about time. I just want to, I don't know if it's you guys or maybe Christy Smiley. Resolution calls for
Also,
7,000.
Brian, I will ask that you just speak into the mic. No worries. Because I can
Resolution
barely.
calls for $7,075,000.
And not-
Capital plan shows a different number.
Yep.
Are we
Why? Yeah.
putting cash against it, or what are we doing?
Yes, so the sheriff has found some funds within their own budget to help offset some of the costs for that. So that's why you see the actual bond issuance less than the total project cost.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. And that was County Chief Financial Officer Christy Smiley. Any other questions from legislators?
You don't have another question,
All
Brian?
right, none? Okay.
You want me to ask one?
Legislator Burtis? Okay, Legislator Burtis.
Hey, Sheriff. It's a long-time supporter of Air One, so I'm glad that we're moving forward with a new bird, supported in every way. And whenever I talk about the helicopter, I always say that I think it is reasonable that our community, size of our community here, would have a helicopter. And yes, there's a cost, and we see it here. But I think that it's reasonable that we have one, and it is a lifesaver, and it helps also would do the job of that the sheriff's office is tasked to do. So I would say, as Leader May has said, I'm glad it's here, glad to support it.
Thank you, Sheriff. I have a question, or more of a comment, but I think a question. So I have fully 180 turned on the helicopter. I was actually against, and now I am for, because I've seen some of the good that it can do. I would like you to speak to, I guess, some of the good, but more, which leads to my question, is I get calls from community members who don't know. They just see the helicopter up and they're like, what's going on? And is there a way for community members to see what's going on? Like what the helicopter is doing, like why they're flying in their neighborhood and things like that? And if not, should we create that?
So I'll let Chief Pilot Farley talk to part of that.
Yes.
A lot of what we're doing is in progress,
Okay.
and there'd be no easy way to put that out, especially, we don't want to interfere with the police investigation. But some of the good work that the helicopter does, Chief Farley will speak to.
Thank you.
How you doing? Sergeant James Farley. Like the sheriff said, when we're up and about, we're on a mission usually.
Yes, sir.
It's happening as it's ongoing, so there's no way for the public to know.
Yep.
What we do is if we have a call where we're being involved in something that's pretty out of the ordinary,
Yes,
we
sir.
notify the point of information officer,
Okay.
and they can post it through that way.
Okay. Thank
There's
you.
also apps. I mean, you can track aircraft
true.
through apps,
Yes.
so they can get flight aware and see where the helicopter is at all times.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Sergeant. I do want to shout out Tom, because I've reached out to Tom from you all's office about the helicopters when constituents come to me. Going forward, I guess we should communicate with the apps. I don't know how we do it, but I do think it would be helpful for us to have just like a formal, even if it was like 72 hours after, that way it doesn't, investigate with some in progress. But I've gotten at least 3 constituents come to me just wondering what's up. And every time it's been something totally reasonable and totally justified. So like, that's not the concern. The concern is more just having that transparency available for people. So just something to think about. I'm obviously in favor of this. We'll go Legislator McCarron and then Leader May.
I believe Onondaga County through the 911 Center has a live CAD dispatch system with some limited access to calls, that if they have an immediate concern, the helicopter's flying over their house, they may be able to go online, look at the CAD system, and see if there are any calls in their neighborhood.
Thank you. Leader May?
Thank you. I guess I do have another question, but it's good. You can brag about your programs. We've obviously made some investments. You guys have gotten some grant money to enhance the drone program. Obviously, it serves a distinctly different purpose than what the helicopter does. Can you speak to that a little bit in terms of where both are going and how maybe the helicopter program is impacted by that, probably by way of efficiency or maybe even safety in terms of human life?
And once again, I'll have Sergeant Farley come up and speak to that. He's actually written some papers on the comparison between the drone platform and the Air One platform, but I'll let the Chief Pilot
Thank you.
speak.
So a lot of people think that I would be anti-drone because I'm pro-helicopter, but actually there's roles for both. Drones are a great tool. The difference between the drone and the helicopter is drone is more location specific. Like for instance, if you have a vehicle pursuit, you're not going to take a drone and do a vehicle pursuit because you're going to cover a large geographical area. Drone only operates from line of sight, so the operator has to see the drone in order to operate it. Drones also can't perform rescues. As you saw, probably we can save people, animals. Until a drone can go and pick somebody out of the river, it can't replace a helicopter. Also, you need the pilot's perspective. A drone is operated from the ground. A pilot has a different aerial view, and they have, they can determine things differently than the drone view. So they both have a role. Drones are really good for sending it into a house if you want to search for a suspect, but it can't replace a helicopter yet.
Thank you.
Leader Hernandez?
Yes, good afternoon. I had a question about the lifespan of helicopters. I know we drive our cars, right? We get to about 150,000 miles and we have to start doing maintenance. When do you start doing maintenance on a helicopter? How many years? And
The maintenance is continual. The FAA says this many hours requires this much maintenance. For example, over the summer of 2025, we had to rebuild the engine in our helicopter, and that was required by the FFA so many hours. Our current ship is in really good shape. I'm not sure how much that'll translate to trade-in after a 2-year build time, but the maintenance is outstanding and it's required by the hours.
Just a quick question follow-up. Does the bond funding, when we fund, do we fund for that maintenance or it comes up and then you come back to us?
Our maintenance is in our yearly
It
budget.
is in budget. Thought that. Thank you. Okay. Legislator Bush.
Do we have a timeline when we can expect the new helicopter to be in operation?
It really depends on Bell Helicopter, who's going to be building the new ship. It's a 2-year build time, and there's no way to like push them along. There's no negotiation. It's like, do you want the helicopter or not? It's nothing like trying to buy a car.
I just spoke to Bell last week and they're talking about 18 to 24 months.
So as soon as the legislature approves this at our next session, you'll be putting the order in, I assume.
Yeah, we want to place the order in because according to Bell, prices are just going to keep going up.
Right.
They're still not where they want to be, so there's going to be increases.
To put those increases in perspective, since I started this push 3 years ago, it's gone up $1 million. The same exact helicopter.
Legislator Romeo.
Thank you. Do we have anything available for when the helicopter is down for maintenance? Is there any kind of spare or alternative way for us to be in the air?
There's no spare helicopter.
Well, I know that, but so there's no other way for us. Okay. I didn't think so. I just.
Normally what happens is if we have a major component, so the engine had to be overhauled, we use a rental engine. And you can rent an engine, you can rent blades, so anything that needs to be overhauled, we usually rent the part and use a rental while it's being overhauled.
Okay, so because in thinking about the current helicopter being needed for the next 2 years, I know how old it is, and we would be able to rent pieces to kind of keep it moving for that time period?
Yeah, most parts are available, yeah.
Okay.
There are times when we're down, if it's a small item, you're not gonna rent a gauge, but for major overhauls, we have rental parts.
Okay, great, thank you.
We'll go with Legislator Meeker. Speak. Yeah.
Thank you, Chairperson Brown. I'd like to first of all start out by saying thank you guys. The job is already dangerous enough being a sheriff, and then you guys fly in the air and save people's lives. It's remarkable the job you guys do, and I've seen some stuff up close. It's really great, so thank you. The question in regards to the old or the current, is that going to be traded in, and will that be traded in through this deal with Bell?
Yeah, the plan is to trade our helicopter into Bell.
Thank you.
We're thinking maybe 1.2 million, but we don't know.
Sheriff, I will just ask if you can speak into the mic for the people at home.
Right now, we're expecting a 1.2 million trade-in, but we don't know for sure what that's going to be because we don't know the condition our helicopter will be in 2 years. We could get more for that because we just did an engine overhaul. It could get less, but it should be 1.2 million or more.
Go ahead. Okay, we have follow up from Legislator Meeker.
So that price can't be determined until the actual day of trade-in comes 18 to 24 months down the road.
Correct. We're anticipating 1.2 million, but we're trading in 2 years from our build time. So there could be other factors.
Leader May.
Thank you. In the interest of speed and making sure we lock down the best price, I'll move the item.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Second. Legislator Romeo. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you so much, Sheriff Shelley. Thank you to both of you, sheriffs. The work you do, our community really appreciates it, so thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you. So next, we're gonna have emergency communications. I believe we have, I see Commissioner and I see Dana Smith. So what I'm going to ask is when you come forward, just give your name and your title before you speak, and I'll let you take it from here.
Good afternoon. My name is Julie Korn. I'm the Commissioner of the Onondaga County Department of Emergency Communications, 911, and with me is Deputy Commissioner Dana Smith. He is in charge of administration and technology. A lot of what we're going to be talking about today is technology focused, so any questions that I can't answer, hopefully he can answer for you. First item up is our computer-aided dispatch refresh project. This is a 2-year project. This is all about updating the existing hardware, servers, gateways, and switches that are part of the CAD system. If you're not familiar with the CAD system, that is really the backbone of the entire 911 system when it comes to communicating with all of our first responders in the field. So all the notes are taken in the CAD system from the calls, and then they're communicated out to the field through laptops in all of the police, fire, and EMS vehicles. So it's a very critical system, definitely critical infrastructure. This is not about replacing the current system. CAD systems usually have about a 5-year life cycle. We'll be coming back in a few years to talk about that, but this is to update very important pieces of equipment that keep the CAD system functioning properly. So this year, this is a little more than half of what we asked for last year to complete that project.
Understood. Are there any questions on the CAD system from any legislators? Item 5A. Okay, seeing none. We're able to do these one at a time, right? Yeah, so do we have a motion on the floor for item 5A in relation to the E911 CAD system? Legislator Romeo motioned. Is there a second? Second from Leader Hernandez. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? Item 5A passed. Thanks. Can you speak about item 5B?
Great, thank you.
Commissioner.
This is about expanding and renovating our current 911 center. So we have talked in years past about studies and whether or not it makes sense to stay at our current center or to move to a brand new facility. And working with the county executive's office, it's definitely more cost effective to stay where we are. So what we're asking for next is not a commitment to doing that yet, but it's to have a design of what that would look like at our current facility. It's to expand in the direction, if you've never been to our center, we have a building next door that is falling down and is ready to come down. It's in that direction, and there's lots of land there, so we would be moving in that direction. And it's to renovate the current center, which needs very important things like windows and bathrooms and kitchens and things like that. If that is approved in the future, the estimate that's in the CIP is in approximately $20 million, but we aren't anywhere ready to talk about that part yet. This would be for the design.
Okay, so that was my question. This is just for the design portion of it?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from legislators? Legislator Romeo?
So in this design work, you expect them to include tearing down that building next door because you'll need that space, correct?
Correct. We had an estimate for that, and it's several years old, but it's about $250,000, and we'll see what that costs now with inflation.
Yeah.
Thank you. Questions, legislators? Legislator Burtis? We have a motion on the floor. We have a second from Leader Hernandez. All right, all those in favor? Item 5B, aye. All opposed? All abstentions? The ayes have it. Item 5B passed. Commissioner, if you could speak to item 5C.
Thank you. So this one has everything to do with absolutely critical officer safety. You might be surprised to hear that we cannot currently track officers on foot. There is some GPS capability in their body cameras, but that's not consistent across the board. This would now allow us to have GPS in their portable radios. We have that ability in the vehicles, and that works very well for us, but we don't have that ability on the actual individual. So this would give us that capability. It's in the sum of $1.7 million over 2 years, and our law enforcement agencies have asked us to bring this forward. We do own the radio system through the county, and this is something that I think we can all agree is extremely important.
Would this just be for the sheriffs, or how would it work?
All town and villages, all police agencies.
Okay, that seems cool. I don't know how the technology works. Legislator Romeo?
Will this also be available for others who are using the radio system? Let's
Yes.
say ambulance, AMR.
Yes, this funding was specific to law enforcement, but that capability would definitely be important for other parts, with the priority being law enforcement.
Okay. And so if if an entity wants to use that, would they request it from you and then you would come back to us, or can they just kind of opt into that?
We would have to talk, I mean, this amount, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, this is just for law enforcement, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we would probably have to come back unless somebody wanted to fund that on their own, on the fire and EMS side.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no, okay. Any questions? Legislator Denton?
Is there ongoing cost with this? Like, is this buying equipment and then we would need to continue servicing that equipment, or is there a contract with that equipment?
Radios are similar to other 911 type equipment like CAD or the phone system. There is continuous updates usually on average every 5 years. Radios, I will say, are probably the most ruggedized of all of them and last the longest. So I eventually, yes, but I don't expect that to be in the near term.
So this is updating, right? It's providing radios, but it's giving more capacity on what they can do.
It's just a software update for the radio, correct?
Say that one more time.
It's more of a software update on
Yes.
the current radio, correct?
Yes, we will have to touch every radio though.
Okay.
Correct, go ahead.
Because it's already built in.
What it is there's a specific channel that data will get pushed from the radio automatically to the 911 center, and it's integrated into the CAD map. So the officer doesn't have to do anything more than have his or her radio on, and then the radio will transmit that burst of data, and it'll plot them on the map.
Thank you.
Any questions from legislators? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion. We have a motion on the floor from Leader Hernandez. Do we have a second? We have a second from Legislator Burtis for item 5C. Yes. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Okay, and last, Commissioner, if you could talk to item 5D.
Great, thank you. The last one is to upgrade our phone system. This is definitely the most critical of the ones in terms of timeliness that we're going to talk about today. Our current phone system has an expiration coming up this summer. So this is when I was talking about life cycles, about a 5-year life cycle on the phone system. And we are going to be moving from a server-based phone system to a cloud-based phone system. This is going to save us costs on the maintenance side. It's going to save us time and resources on the IT side. This is a company that is not just nationally known, but known worldwide. It's a company called Carbine, and they have just been acquired by Axon. So if you hear Axon 911, that is the system that we are investing in, which also integrates with the AI program Prepared that we have already previously invested in. So they are going to be linked as partners, and this is a great investment for our county.
Are there any questions from legislators? You actually did answer the question I had about how it interacts with the AI. I do have a question. It kind of goes back to a conversation we had last October at the Public Safety Committee meeting in reference to the like manning of the system, like the human impact. Are we prepared? Like, do we have the scale available to run this efficiently? Are there any concerns there?
No concerns. I mean, we're working with our staff really diligently to read their needs and help them. We're doing that right now as we speak. As a matter of fact, it is a lot of change management and helping people be comfortable with these things. But in the end, the tools are there to make their jobs easier. So once they get accustomed, we should be in really, really great shape. And the technology is just going to change so fast. So that's what all the new challenges will be, and that's what we're preparing for, is keeping up with all of that. But the companies will be helping us for sure.
They will. Good show. Thank you. Legislator Romeo.
My question's about the cloud storage. It must have been you that had mentioned it in facilities that made me think about it. For the IT question that I had, we just heard that there wasn't efficiencies on that IT side, but with you that there is. Do you know what kind of percentages or why?
Yeah, I thought you might ask that, honestly.
Yeah.
All I can say is that I think it's a very much, it depends on what you're investing in, and in this case, we've done our homework. We have really tried to package all of those additional costs and things into this CIP, so we're not expecting onesie, twosie types of things down the road. We also have grant funding that can support this in the event that we have things that we need. So I don't expect to be coming to ask you for things over and over again to maintain this. I hope that answers your question.
No, it kind of does. I'll just add a little bit more. Do you have an expected savings from it, either a percentage of what you're spending now or a dollar amount?
I can say in the realm of about $500,000 in maintenance costs, roughly.
Great. Thank you.
I did have a question, Commissioner, just in relation to the AI portion. We're going to be working with, you said, Axon. Do we know if they will own the data or if we will? And do we know how are they able to share it?
We will own the data.
We will own the
All of
data.
that is, yep, everything is owned by.
Onondaga County, and they won't have the ability to share it without our consent. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions? Legislator Burtis.
Commissioner, you won't need anything else after this, right? You're going to be all set.
Yeah, nothing else.
911, you're going to be set for a while.
You're good.
You're going to be set for a while.
It's a very technical organization here. I'm
I
sorry.
understand. Appreciate that the design for E911 is on the table, so at least we'll have a response for you when we come up there that we're all moving forward on the building that's falling over and for the telephone system and the advances there. So glad to do it, and I'd like to move it.
There's a motion on the floor, but are there any questions before we? Okay, so there's a motion and a second from Legislator Romeo. Okay, all those in favor? Item 5D, aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you so much, Commissioner Korn.
Thank you so
for
much.
the work you're doing, Mr. Smith, for coming down. Okay, next we have DOT Commissioner Voss, and he is going to be speaking to a series of things. I will ask as you approach the microphone that you give your name and your title before you present.
My name is Marty Voss. I'm the Commissioner of the Onondaga County Department of Transportation. And our first few items, the bond resolutions support the work plan. I went through the work plan at program committee, line by line. I don't think you want me to do that again.
You don't have to go line by line, no. You
Okay.
can give us an
Well, I brought
overview.
some extra copies for you
Thank
that
you.
weren't at, those of you who weren't at the program committee.
Okay, I'll take them. You can hand them out. Yeah. Take one, pass it down.
So the work plan for 2026, the way our budget works, and we talked about this at program committee, and some of you veterans, I'm repeating myself because you've heard me say this
Ethan,
for 11
can I
years now.
ask you to hand these to the legislators?
We get money from both the federal, state, and local government to support our construction program in the summer. Our budgets, as you know, are done in the fall because that's our fiscal year. But because we rely on both the federal and state government, we don't have all of our budget numbers until the state actually adopts a budget in April. So the work plan lays out how we will spend the federal, state, and local dollars. And the local dollars are a combination of both cash and bonding. With a couple notable exceptions for things like COVID and a couple of really tough fiscal years, we typically bond every year for highway and bridge repairs to support our local program. What I want to make sure everyone understands is the federal dollars are the lion's share of the construction funds and the design funds. That's about 85%. The state funds are about 10%, and the local share is 5%. So the local bonding and the local cash that we push into the highway system, that leverages, I don't know what the magnitude of that is, but it's a lot. It leverages a lot of money back for us from the state and federal government. So because the state has not yet adopted a budget, we won't have final numbers from them until they do. And I'll have to come back to you again with resolutions to accept that state money. And we'll have additional projects that are going to get done with those funds. Is that clear? As mud?
Yeah, that is clear.
So
Thank you.
today, what we're asking for in Resolution A is the $1.49 million bond to support our bridge program for this year.
Okay,
And those specific projects are listed in the work plan.
yes. And they have been gone over at length. Are there any questions from, okay, Legislator Romeo?
Hey, Mark, I have more of an understanding of how the finances works question. I saw in here, and it may be deeper in there, I just haven't had time to look at it, the CHIPS funding.
What, I'm sorry?
It may be in here, I just haven't been able to go through it yet. I saw that some of it's used for CHIPS funding, and it's my understanding that that's a formula that you can use on roads over a certain period of time, right, to determine how much you're getting from that? Is that?
So CHIPS and Marchicelli, when I worked in Albany, it was called Marchicelli because I was in Albany in the 90s.
I still call it that.
Old
Yeah.
now. It's called the Consolidated Highway Improvement Program. What the state does is they have a formula based on your mileage, and we in Onondaga County have right around 800 miles of county highway we're responsible for. So there's a formula-driven approach to that. Every county, city, town, and village get a pro rata share based on their mileage from that formula, from the state.
Okay.
It's like school aid, but without all the manipulation.
Okay, and what about, it shows state and federal other, are those also formulas or restrictions as to what you can use it on?
So the federal is the way it works. I use the basket analogy. The federal government passes a transportation bill, big, huge T-bill, lots of money for the whole country. New York State gets a pro rata share of that based on our population and our mileage. Then the state, well, after they take their chop, they take a nice chunk of that for themselves. What's left goes to the MPOs. So our MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, is the Syracuse Metropolitan Transportation Council. Myself, Mary Robinson, representatives from the State Department of Transportation, occasionally folks from the towns and villages, because it's a kind of a laborious process to do a federal aid project. And most of the smaller town and village roads aren't eligible for that funding anyway, because it's driven by volumes. We divvy that up and squabble over that at SMTC. And then what you see here is the projects that we've budgeted out of that 5-year capital plan that came from the federal government, the state's match, and then our local share. So if you look at the pieces, how the pieces all come together, that number changes every year because there's a different amount of federal aid depending on what projects are in design, what projects are going to construction, et cetera.
Got it. So
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you guys are negotiating at that SMTC level, it's pretty flexible in terms of what you need it for and what you're able to use it for?
There are, I don't want to get too far in the weeds. There's different programs for different, like there's certain money that's only for urban areas. There's certain programs that are for rural. We do a pretty good job of trying to come to consensus at SMTC, at the executive committee, and figure out who needs what and when, and who's ready to go and who's not. You know, there's a lot of variables that affect construction, weather, budgets, occasionally politics. So we try to work things out among ourselves, and we have a pretty good record of that. Typically, the city and the county work very well together at SMTC to make sure that all of our needs are getting met, and we're not leaving anyone without resources.
Great. Thank you for the explanation.
Any questions from legislators on item 6A? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion for item 6A. We have a motion on the floor from Leader Hernandez. Is there a second? Second from Legislator Romeo. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Next, we're going to talk about item 6B, which is a bond.
So this is the highway bond. So this supports the paving program, the projects and the paving lists for what we have in the budget so far without the additional state money that we're anticipating when they get around to passing the budget. So this supports that program, and you'll see that, Dan, if you want to look at page 3 of the work plan, the bond issue shows up and shows you where it's going in the 4th column over. So that breaks out what we're going to do with those funds.
Yeah, that's where I saw that CHIPS funding coming from there.
So the CHIPS number, that'll change. That's a baseline number that we've had every year since Brian Donnelly was commissioner. So we're comfortable knowing that we're going to get at least that from the state. You know, as I explained to program committee, that number fluctuates every year. There's different programs. I'm going to come back and tell you about PAVE New York and EWR and all these other cute acronyms they come up with. They're all driven by the same formula. And as long as they continue funding them, we're happy to spend them down. Typically, those numbers go up in even years, and then they go down in odd years because it's Albany, and that's how everything works.
Got it. Thank you.
Are there any questions related to 6B? Okay. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. We have Legislator Bush. Is there a second? There's a second from Leader Hernandez. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstained? The ayes have it. Thank you. Yeah, so now we'll go to item 5C. Would like to
So C is a federal aid resolution for the 7th North Street construction project. This includes some right-of-way acquisition, and again, without getting too far into the weeds, the right-of-way maps should be included with the resolution. We're gonna do a rebuild of 7th North Street, and in order to do that, one of the things we've gotten from all the public forums we've had is sidewalks, bicycle lanes, other exciting, interesting things to streamline that network in that part of the town of Salina.
Oh, yeah.
So this allows us to go forward with the right-of-way acquisition, which is not to say we're gonna take people's property. We just need a little room to get an easement to put in the infrastructure that we're gonna be building for the community. So that's what these are. This doesn't guarantee that these are a fait accompli. We still have to go and negotiate, and our law department will have to work with the property owners to get these all buttoned down. But this allows us to have the resources and the ability to go forward with the right-of-way.
Thank you. Are there any questions from legislators? Legislator Romeo?
Sorry. With this, are you going all the way to the city line and working with the city, or are you coming from, I saw it was Buckley and 7th North, I can't tell which.
No, where does this stop, Chris? At, Buckley or?
As you approach the microphone, I will ask you to state your name and title.
Chris Roberts, Civil Engineer, Onondaga County DOT. The project limits are from the railroad bridges, which is the city line, all the way to Electronics Parkway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So are we working with the city? Because I think from that railroad bridge right up to Hiawatha isn't great either.
That's the city.
Yeah, no, I understand that. That's why I'm saying, are we working with the city to see if they want to take that on?
Do they have a project? I don't know if they have a project there yet. I know we're working with them on Teal, and we're working with them on Onondaga Boulevard.
Yeah.
They're trying to do projects there. I don't recall if they have a project for 7th North. Do you?
They do not. And they are aware that we have the project. We coordinate with the city all the time. So I know SMTC currently has some studies within the city along 7th North there with some improvements that they're going to recommend to the city. It's a current ongoing study.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Item 5C? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion. Legislator Denton, is there a second? Leader Hernandez? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you. Now, Commissioner, if you can talk about 5D.
So this is the federal aid resolution for the Buckley Road paving project. This is in the towns of Salina. I think it goes into Clay a little bit. The area in question is around the Brooklyn Pickle, soon to be new burned area across the street, the medical center out there. And this is a pay in the first instance resolution, which is, you'll hear me say that a lot, with the federal aid resolutions, in order to get the state comptroller to release the funds, the county has to advance the money almost like on a credit card. And then we enter in a contract, and the state comptroller requires a legislative resolution to reimburse those funds to the county.
Is that the instance with items, looks like what, D through H?
Yes.
Yes, okay, making sure.
Exactly. Well, there's one more right away, I believe, but yeah, more or less. So all of these that say pay in the first instance, that's what we're talking about, is the county advancing the money so that we're eligible to contract with the state, because the state administers the federal program. This is a lot, I know.
But we get paid back.
But we have to do it in order to get reimbursed by, so those certified resolutions that you're gonna send me, we send those to the state comptroller to get paid.
Yes. No, it's important to note that we get paid back. One of the things I'm learning in this job is the difference between a bond and these kind of situations, and then when we pay cash in certain situations, but it's good to know which one this is, so thank you. Are there any questions from legislators? Yes, Legislator Denton.
I just had a question on this one where it says we're rescinding the 2025 resolution. So I didn't know, like, are we, so I was interested in, like, we're rescinding last year's, so this is a new one, or I didn't understand, like.
We're just, we're cost change, so we had to amend it, and we're gonna rescind the old one, so we're not double dipping with the state.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Got it. Any other questions from legislators? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for item 6D, as you were. There's a motion on the floor from Leader Hernandez.
Can we move 6D through H?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so, all right, let's consolidate. So, clerk, what we are going to do, I guess first we'll do a motion that we take items 6D through 6H all in one vote. So let's vote to consolidate them now. So all in favor of consolidating 6D through H, show of hands. All opposed? All abstain? The ayes have it. Also, that motion was made by Legislator Romeo, and it was seconded by Legislator Burtis. And now to vote on items 6D through H, is there a motion on the floor? Legislator Romeo, and we have a second from Leader Hernandez. Sweet. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Thank you, Legislator Romeo, for initiative. Okay, now we are at 6I.
Thank you.
Yes.
You guys are spoiling me.
We gotta go.
I is the, Penny, where is it?
Snow and ice.
That is amending our, so we plow several hundred miles of state road for the New York State Department of Transportation. This adjusts the reimbursement rate because we actually can invoice them for our direct expenses. And since we changed our salary scale a couple years ago, our labor costs have gone up, our fuel costs have gone up, our salt costs have gone up, everything's gone up. So this allows us for those state roads to invoice at the higher amount and get full reimbursement for our costs. And this adjusts what the existing contract was.
I do have a question. That's somewhat unrelated, but I do know you have the answer, and you are right here before me. You said we adjust for our fuel costs. Do we pay, like, for fuel per gallon or in an instance?
We do, but we have an annual contract, so it's not as volatile as what
you would
consumers
imagine
would pay.
Got it.
But we still have to, it still goes up, and we still have to budget that. And when we do with these agreements with the state, they're typically 3-year agreements, so we have to keep on top of that as costs change.
Thank you. Are there any questions from legislators pertaining to item 6I? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to pass. There is a motion on the floor from Leader Hernandez. Is there a second? There is a second from Legislator Burtis. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Okay, and item 6J, Commissioner.
All right, last but not least, this is an adjustment to last winter, so winter 24-25's contract with the state to allow us to accept what they call a severity payment for additional costs incurred due to the nature of the winter. That severity factor was 1.585. That results in additional revenue of, what's the delta? Yeah, $3 million.
Okay, I'll just say great work this winter. This was a rough one, but I commend the work you all are doing. Are there any questions from legislators? Mine was a comment. Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion for item 6J.
I'll move it. I just say that I remember it snowed in May sometimes.
It did snow in April. It snowed this month, which is odd, but there is a motion on the floor. Can we have a second? There's a second from Legislator Denson. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you so much, Commissioner Voss. Nice. Next, we are going to have the Department of Parks and Recreation. Is Commissioner Kelly here? He is. Okay, Commissioner is going to be speaking about a grant. But yes, when you approach the microphone, I will just ask that you give us your name and your title as you speak to why you're here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Brian Kelly, Commissioner of Parks. Nice to see everyone. Today, we are here to request that the 2026 county budget be amended for us to accept a grant from New York State. Onondaga County was awarded $50,000 from New York Swims. a grant from New York State to reimburse municipalities through certain counties and large cities to incentivize lifeguard recruitment, retention, and training, and to improve swimming opportunities throughout the state. Eligible counties were charged with working with municipalities within their county. Onondaga County Parks has worked with and will establish IMAs with 7 municipalities, including Town of Skaneateles, Town of Camillus, Town of Manlius, Town of Salve and Gaddis, the Village of Jordan, the Town of Salina, and the Town of Van Buren Parks and Recreation. Each municipality will get $4,000 for documented raises, retention bonuses, training, and or materials or equipment that they purchased through May of 2024 through September 25. The remaining $22,000 will go to Onondaga County for training equipment, and lifeguard raises. So we ask that you approve and amend the 2026 budget for us to receive this grant.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
Yes.
There is a motion from Legislator Hernandez and
I
a
want to say
leader.
congratulations.
Yes,
Thank you
congratulations.
very much. It's of note too in this is the city
Okay.
separately applied for a $50,000 grant, and they received one as well.
Nice.
So they'll be able to fund their pools and do what they need to do this summer as well.
Oh, yeah. Nice. It's good to hear. So there is a motion and a second from Legislator Romeo. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you so much, Commissioner Kelly. Okay, next, it is us appointing 2 directors to the Onondaga County Tobacco Asset Securitization Corporation. Dan, would you like to speak on it?
No, great options.
So we are nominating 2 of our colleagues to sit on the board, and I will entertain a motion. You're not gonna motion? Dan doesn't want to vote. All right, we have a motion on the floor from Legislator Denton and a second from Legislator Bush. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Okay, next, we will have a local law requiring, so these are the local laws, so these we're not actually gonna vote on, we're just going to discuss them. This is a good time for discussion. We're going to refer these to the general session in full body to make that decision, but we will start with 8B, a local law requiring commercial establishments to notify customers of the use of biometric identification technology. Leader Hernandez, would you like to speak to this a little bit before we vote?
So what we're doing is we're passing a law saying that we just are protecting our consumers from.
Can
You
you
hear me?
No,
That
they cannot.
we are protecting our consumers in Onondaga County from their private data being sold to third parties. We are just requiring that our commercial businesses post signage saying that they are utilizing this within their stores, basically. Right now, we have New York State that is currently working on some bills. It's becoming kind of a hot topic. We have about 4 different senators trying to pass some legislation. We also have 2 assembly members passing legislation, and we also have the city of Syracuse that's also interested in passing some legislation on. So what we're basically doing in Onondaga County as legislators is saying, look, we want to protect our customers, we want to protect their privacy, and we want our businesses in Onondaga County to basically post signage saying that it's being utilized within their businesses.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on item 8B? We move forward. I imagine more will come up when we get to the floor, but seeing none, I will move to item 8C, which is a local law to authorize Onondaga County to accept and appropriate gifts, contributions, and donations, and repealing laws number 3-1996, 10-2007, and 4-2025. I believe Legislator Denton was going to speak to this. Nice, Legislator Denton.
Thank you. So with these changes, with everything that we've been seeing going on with the aquarium project, we wanted to make a couple changes. So this local law would add Friends of the Onondaga County Aquarium to the list of the other Friends groups that the county has, like Friends of the Rosemont Gifford Zoo, Friends of Beaver Lake, and of Brook Fish Hatchery, and so on. So this is important because it sets a limit for donations from friends groups of the aquarium to $10,000, which means if Onondaga County receives a donation from this nonprofit, that donation would need to be accepted by this body by resolution, just as the Friends of the Zoo or Beaver Lake would already have to do. So if this was already in place months ago, this legislature this body would have been notified of the $5.7 million donation that we would have been notified before that was transferred to the county, and we would have had to accept that resolution by that donation by resolution. So this oh my goodness, this just gives the county legislature a check on these transactions, where we can ask questions and stay more informed about the fiscal health of these entities and the future investments into our facilities. If a donation is under $10,000 from a friend group, the chair of the legislature and the chair of the appropriate committee would be notified of each gift, contribution, or donation accepted by the chief financial officer. And we are also adding, with this update, floor leaders, so they would also be notified. And then the other change we've kind of made is clarifying that each notification in that quarterly report should be itemized. So we would see the date, the amount, and again, you can get an idea of how many donations. And then the quarterly reports would continue to be due March 1st, June 1st, September 1st, and December 1st. So we are proposing to update this law to just clean up past versions, as the original law for gifts and donations was passed in 1996, and the Friends Group changes were updated in 2007, and the accepting of donations for the aquarium that had no limits was approved last year in 2025. So instead of needing to reference 3 different laws, which gets really confusing pretty quickly, we'd like to just repeal the past versions to pass this new law that still includes almost all the same language from 1996 and 2007. The only difference is that we're adding the Friends of the Onondaga County Aquarium, and we're just clarifying more of that reporting requirements. So again, we're committed to increasing transparency on this project that has now used over $105 million of taxpayer dollars in one way or another. And we're proposing these common sense changes that I hope all my colleagues will support. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. I did have a question. Will this proposed local law, will this make the Friends of the Aquarium, will they have any different reporting or structural requirements than the Friends of the Zoo or the Friends of Beaver Lake?
It would be the same.
Thank you. I more just wanted that to be on record. Also, I guess another question that I would like answered on record, just literally, what we saw last month kind of caught everyone off by surprise. If this law was in place, would we have had notice of something like that, and then how much notice would that have given us?
It would have to be placed on our agenda, and potentially brought through either committee, or it would again be on our session agenda.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other questions pertaining to item 8C, local law?
If the county attorney, do you have anything to add? Making sure I'm explaining it correctly would be.
Yeah.
I think you got it.
Okay. Like everything said was legal. Thank you. Commissioner, attorney, Esquire. Are there any questions from legislators? Okay, seeing none. Oh, do we have one? Oh, sorry.
No.
Am I missing somebody? Oh, no worries. I just didn't know if I was missing somebody. Oh, I am. Ken,
Just wanted to clarify, you're saying.
if you could speak into the mic, because I can't hear you, so I know they can't hear you at home. Oh, is it broke? Please.
Just to clarify, all the Friends groups will be under the same guidelines. That's right. What happens when money is given to a Friends group? Who has jurisdiction how that money is spent?
Okay. Legislator Denton.
So for nonprofits, the AGs, the New York State Attorney General has the authority, like they have the purview of that.
Well, but I mean, if money is given to one Friends group, let's say Friends of Carpenter's Brook, which would love to see a $10,000 donation, by the way. So who governs how that Friends group handles that money? Does the county, is that money really given to the county or to a Friends group?
It would be the
state.
Attorney General, it's a state. The state, oversees them.
Well, because the money that was given to the zoo by the Gifford Foundation, that resolution said that the
And
commissioner of the zoo, or commissioner of parks, and the county determines, oversees that money.
their boards would. The boards of the Friends groups decide how to spend them.
I don't think that's why the resolution was.
The resolution is if the Friends groups were to donate to the county, which is different than if you or I were to donate to the Friends organization and not to the county. So if I were to make a donation to a Friends group, their internal processes oversees that. We have nothing to do with that. It's different if then the Friends group turns around and makes a donation to the county. That's when this local law comes into effect.
So if you give money to a Friends group, that doesn't necessarily say that that money will go to the Friends of Carpenter's Brook or Friends of the Aquarium.
No, it would. It's just different if the Friends group then donates to the county for a certain purpose. Like if you donate to the Friends group just for...
I guess my question is, who has oversight of all these Friends groups?
They're run independently. They're their own nonprofit organizations with boards and presidents.
So
and
the county doesn't sanction them? They just form themselves and do whatever they want to do to raise money with people thinking it's going to a county group or organization?
I don't want to speak to people's perception of what the groups are, but they're meant to be separate from the county.
Yeah.
So I think the county needs to be careful
Canada.
of their association with the Friends group if they really don't have oversight of how that money will be spent.
Okay, the comment is acknowledged. Leader May?
Well, maybe just to add to what Legislator Bush is saying, or add some clarity, you have to almost go back to the enabling legislation, which enables Friends groups to exist. And they specifically exist to support the county in the delivery of these parks or their programs. Fair? Yeah. So then, from there, these Friends groups become viable, receive money from supporters, things of that nature. And then ultimately, these Friends groups have the prerogative, their own prerogative as a separate entity to then push money toward the county. Example, the Friends group at Beaver Lake is helping to underwrite some of the cost of the boardwalk that goes around. That's how it plays. The board governs its own activities, but the legislation clearly defines what their purpose is. So I don't know if that helps, but that's just how I've sorted it out for myself.
Yeah, my understanding of this law is that once one of the Friends groups decides to spend or give money to the county in excess of $10,000, then that resolution would come before us. I will say one of the parts of this law is that I'm hoping we can stay true to is the reporting requirements that are built in. Even the 2025 law had reporting requirements as far as quarterly reports. And those reports help us stay current. They help us know what the progress is. I do think we're going to get to a point where we can celebrate those quarterly reports, where it's something like we can look forward to. Look how good the last quarter went, but we can't celebrate it if we don't have it. So I'm looking forward to this being a part of the discussion. Legislator Thompson, did you want to say something?
Yes, I'm hoping that this adds to the clarification too of the purpose of this law, because I know that there's often been a question about the anonymity associated with donations. Because of the 501c3, it's built in that you can donate anonymously to a 501c3. So, tracing the process, if I understand it correctly, if Joe Smith donates $10,001 to Friends of Rosemont Gifford Zoo, then the Friends of Rosemont Gifford Zoo gives that to the county. At that point, we would receive, or members of this legislature, the chair, the floor leaders, is there one other figure involved? They would receive the information about not just the fact that there's a $10,000 donation coming in, but they would know the identity of that donor. But because it says that in the legislation, it itemizes the donor, the amount, all those sorts of things. And is that then still preserving the anonymity of the 501c3, that we're not running afoul of any of that?
Correct. Once
Because
they
that
decide.
information is just held internally by the leaders of the respective parties of the legislature.
Yes. Legislator Denton, if you want to clarify, yes.
And an important part to note too is, like this body would have to accept a donation over that level. For friends groups, it is $10,000, but any donation to the county, that level is only $1,500. But anything lower than those levels, we would still be notified of those being accepted. It just wouldn't have to be accepted by resolution, just to be.
And then when that's brought to the body by the chair, by the floor leaders, the rest of I, as a legislator not in a position, would be voting simply to approve the acceptance of that dollar amount, but I would not necessarily be privy to who donated that. Is that correct? Okay. I hope that was illuminating.
Are there any other questions on item 8C? Thank you. Thank you to legislators for engaging in this robust discussion that, many eyes are watching, and I am glad that we're taking a step towards transparency, which is our ultimate goal. Next, for item 8D, we have, I believe this is just standard workday and reporting. I'll read it. Whereas the County of Onondaga hereby establishes the following as standard workdays for elected and appointed officials and will report the following days worked to the State of New York Local Employees Retirement System based on record of activities maintained and submitted by these officials to the clerk of the legislature. Are there any questions? Do we have a motion? I see a motion from Legislator Burtis. Is there a second? There is a second from Leader Hernandez. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Last but certainly not least, I believe we are going to have a discussion of corresponding outside boards and commissions from our chairwoman, okay, you wasn't looking at me, I was like, does she know? But yes, Chairwoman Watts is going to review and discussion of the vacancies and prospective candidates for outside boards and commissions.
Microphone. Hello, everyone. So we currently have the okay? Okay. The Human Rights Commission, so Legislator Brown has put forward an individual for that, and so we will be considering that individual. We'll get the resume out to everyone in advance of session, and we'll be waivering that in session if it indeed goes forward. As a reminder, there are some more boards and commissions that are connected to Ways and Means, and so there are just none that we right now need to approve and fill. So if you have names that you want to put forward for any of the rest of those, please direct them to Legislator Brown and myself for the Ways and Means Program Committee.
Thank you, Chairwoman. This doesn't need to be voted on, so I will move past it. So next, I believe we have to go to executive session. What's the motion language? Is it?
Yeah, so, we have to discuss a litigation matter, so I'm recommending that we go into executive session. And then we'll just do a motion.
Do we have a motion to go into executive session? I see a motion from Legislator Burtis. Is there a second? There's a second from Leader Hernandez. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstaining? The ayes have it. So we will be moving into executive session. So what's the list?
So everybody except legislators, and then Brian Donnelly and Christy Smiley can stay.
Thank you. Okay.
Chairperson, I'll have to leave, so I won't be a part of executive session.
Okay. Thank you. So Legislator Romeo will be leaving before executive session. Thank you. Back, okay. Okay, we are out of executive session. The motion to leave executive session was made by Legislator Burtis, and it was seconded by Leader Hernandez. So now, is there a motion to adjourn? We have a motion from Legislator Denton. Is there a second on the motion to adjourn? A second from Legislator Burgess. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you so much for attending the April Ways and Means Committee meeting. Meeting adjourned at 2:54 p.m. Christ.